Hello and welcome to the second episode of The Artist's Manual. Now, the source of inspiration for this episode came from a blog post that I ran across and that I would like to comment on as it raises some interesting issues. The post is from a blog called Suarez, I think I pronounced it correctly, and it says the following: why art competitions are a pointless waste of time. The problem with open art competitions. One thing I have learned over the last few years is that entering open submission art competitions is on the whole as pointless as trying to empty the Pacific Ocean with a cup. Problem one, they can be partly curated, the open exhibitions, before you ever send your work in. Now, there are exhibitions organized by art institutions or societies, and they do show members' work as well as other artists' work. They do mix it. Sometimes they do choose the members' work before, but this thing has nothing to do with your own work, because there are two separate categories. They have a different submission for members, they have a different submission for the outside artist, let's say. I don't see why that is an issue. Problem two, who are they to tell me I'm not worthy of being shown? Now, that's an important issue. The thing is, what you have to understand with open exhibitions, it's not about being worthy to be shown. It's about fitting in. Being a curated show, they do select a set of pieces that are related one to the other in different aspects. They don't necessarily have to be related one to the other in terms of style, but for example, you cannot place a 2-meter piece next to a miniature, because the 2-meter piece will attract your eye instantly and you'll just pass by the miniature. So they have to think of a way to value each piece and get it seen to the public. Another good example is that if you're applying with a traditional piece at a very contemporary show, you probably won't get in. Now, that's not because your piece is bad or not worthy. That's because the spectrum of styles and palettes is very different from a traditional style. What you have to figure out is if your work fits in that open exhibition. There are a few aspects that the selection depends on. The judges have their own criteria. Of course, the exhibition has a certain style and all that, but the judges can be very subjective. If you are in the art world, you have to get used to subjectivism, because that's all you will get. Now, if you do have an audience as an artist, and there are loads of people who like your work, obviously it's good, but it's good for them. Other clients or art critics or people in general will prefer other styles. That's all subjectivism. Now, the reason why I displayed this piece behind me is that I entered it in 3 shows. First, I entered it in a not very big show and not very popular, and it has been rejected. My second attempt to exhibit this piece was entering it at the Mal Galleries at the Royal Institute of Oil Painters annual exhibition. Now, not only it has been selected, it has been declared the winner of a major prize. And the third time I entered it in hopes that it'll be selected was at the Royal Scottish Academy. It has been selected there. Now, the question that arises here is, why was it selected in 2 major shows, much more important exhibitions, and the first small show didn't select it? Is it because it's gone better in time? No. It's just, it wasn't the right fit. They didn't like it for a reason or another. They didn't like the style. They didn't like the subject. They don't like your colors. But that doesn't mean anything to you. It only means that the judges maybe didn't resonate with your vision and judgment. Every exhibition offers you a different opportunity. For example, one exhibition might get you in contact with someone that really likes your work and who becomes one of your patrons. One of the exhibitions might just win your prize, and the prize might be either monetary or a solo exhibition. In one of the exhibitions, you might not win anything. You just get your work shown and add something to your CV. They all help. Even if you feel that they don't help on the short term, they do mean something on the long term, because they do add up. And if you feel that the work that you produce is at the level that you want, then it becomes your responsibility to show it to the world. Do you get rejected? It doesn't matter. You just continue doing it, because not everyone will like your work. It doesn't matter how good you are. There's an audience for each type of subject, and for each type of work, and for each type of style. Now, let's take art critics, for example. You might have, let's say, 20 art critics around your work talking about it. 10 of them might like it, 10 of them might hate it. But you'll notice that if you talk to the ones who do like it, if they see something that can be improved, they're willing to tell you from their perspective what you should do to improve. And that might give you a great idea, or not, you never know. But it's important to have the conversation. If you listen to the guys who don't like it, normally they just don't like the style in general. They just don't like the type of work, they don't want to see it in the art world. But that's not your concern. That's not your audience then. So your task is solely to focus on your work and then to get your work seen. Most artists that I met are too scared to submit their work. And what happens, this is the recipe for being a starving artist, for always having the self-doubt, for always thinking of the what if. Don't think of the what if. Failure, in general, is temporary. What you do with it and how you react to it might have a long-term impact, both on you personally and on your identity as an artist. The effect might be permanent. So it's important to find a way to cope with it and just go on. Now, getting back to the blog post. Then there's the stress of waiting for the acceptance or rejection correspondence. Have you experienced that? You sit and hope that you will get accepted, and then the envelope or email arrives and it's a no again. How does that make you feel? Personally, it's a stress I can do without. Right, so it's getting dramatic. This section of the video is called The Wait. Waiting to get a response is just part of the process as an artist. It's part of your career. What would you do if you receive a commission? You receive an email saying that someone is interested in getting a commission. You offer them the list of prices and the photos and whatnot, what you like to send, and then you have to wait for the email. Isn't that a wait? Can you do without that? How do you talk to clients if you don't wait for them to respond? I actually am pumped when it comes to the results. I'm very enthusiastic when I have to wait for a response, because I know that it might be a positive response or a negative response, as good. Your art is not all about you. It's about you and the viewer. Let's continue. It says, there are no substitutes for effort. The effort that you put in for a submission into an exhibition, the effort that you allocate to a piece, that's not in vain, because it might get, like this piece, it might get rejected in one exhibition and it might win you a prize in a bigger one. You never know. You just have to know how to capitalize from the piece that you're producing. Alrighty then. Now let's continue. This is written as a title with bigger fonts than everything else and all that. It says, you do not need to be judged. You're not judged. Your work is. You're not judged by someone who has the absolute answer. The judge will know art, will be probably well connected in the art world, will have a reputation in the art world, but regardless, it's just another opinion. If you feel that your work is where it should be, then just continue. If you get rejected and you get judged, you don't feel like the work is there, then just make changes to the work. In both situations, you have to continue. Not exhibiting is not the answer. Not entering competitions is definitely not the answer. It will just slow down your process of being known and of getting clients, and of getting commissions, of getting paintings sold, whatever. And I'll read you the very great conclusion. Being scammed, manipulated, and bullied by art judges and people who think they know what my work is about fills my heart with great sadness. I don't need them, and I will never need them. You might not need them, but they're a plus there. Or they might be a plus if you get selected. They might actually, sometimes getting rejected might mean more to you and might be more important than getting selected. And let's just take an example. If you get rejected, let's say the first 3 times that you submit, you're not at your peak as an artist, you still have space to learn, then you'll question your work twice, you'll try to find solutions to improve. You know that it's your first submission, and that's very different, because in order to get selected, you have to fit. Once you get the recipe of fitting your work into an exhibition, of knowing what's the right fit for an exhibition, you will get exhibited. And that's I guarantee that. It's just finding that recipe that's the hard bit. If you don't know the recipe and you're just lucky, you get selected, and after that, again, after 4 years, you get rejected, you might get into a deep depression because you never had that. You don't know what that feeling is. Getting rejected sometimes means more to you and to your work and to your motivation and to your style of working, to your schedule and everything. It might define you as an artist. So being aware that you're gonna get rejected one way or another, it just allows you the freedom to be yourself and not worry about the outside eye too much. If you want to get to that point where you can fully focus on your work and your vision, if you want to know that you're successful at that, just try to do one thing. It will involve the outside eye, but it's a bit different. Whenever you create a piece, painting, sculpture, whatever you do, try to set a concept for it. Try to show that concept through elements in your painting, through the composition, through the subject, however you want. And after you finish the painting, or the sculpture, or the artwork, show it to family, show it to friends. If they'll tell you that they see the same thing that you wanted them to see, then you know how to manipulate their perspective. You know how to control the audience. If you don't know how to get your message into your work, that might be one of the issues why you get rejected. People might not see what you want them to see. So first, practice that. If you feel that you're at that point, just go on. Whenever I exhibited, whenever I spoke to people about the work, they usually tell me the things I want to hear. I'm not talking about boosting my confidence and telling me that the work is really good and exceptional. I'm talking about the message in the piece. They always tell me, oh, the piece talks to me in a certain way. That certain way is what I wanted from the piece. So just focus on yourself, focus on your work. No one is judging you. They're only judging the work. They're not telling you you're not worthy. They just find the right fit for the exhibitions from their perspective and show that. In conclusion, your responsibility again is to take every chance that you have, to try to create more chances if possible, but don't avoid entering anything. If you want to get your work out there, if you want to know what others think of your work, open exhibitions are a really, really good way to go. I hope that this episode helped. Hope it did make you a tiny bit more confident. I'll see you in the next episodes. I'm going to try to upload twice a week. Just 2 pieces of advice that I would like you to take away from this. Keep creating and exhibit everywhere you can. Good luck.